3:47 a.m. Message says, read. No reply. And you're doing this weird math in your head. Is that a bad sign, or is she just asleep? Like there's a formula somewhere that's gonna save you from just not knowing. Yeah, so here's the thing about this video's title. Dating is not a game. You've probably heard 50 guys on this platform say some version of that sentence right before they hand you a game anyway. Just a fancier one, with a name like Abundance Mindset or the Chase Framework. Same move, New Jersey. But I'm about to walk you through why the single most repeated piece of dating advice out there, be unavailable, make her chase you, never text first, is backed by a lot less science than the guys selling it want you to believe. Because it's messier than it's a myth, full stop. And I think the messy version is actually more useful to you. But that's not all. I'll show you what the same research says works instead, not another fancy technique. And look, I'm not gonna tell you dating apps ruined everything, or that women are some unsolvable puzzle. Everything I'm about to walk you through, I've done. Recently, not in some enlightened past tense, back when I didn't know better way. So if any of this sounds like I'm calling you out, I'm mostly talking to myself 2 years ago at 3:47 a.m. doing exactly this. So hit the like button now and let's get into it. So why do we even end up treating dating like a game in the first place? Because on paper it kind of makes sense, right? If you can't control whether someone likes you, at least you can control the strategy. Well, psychologists who study attachment, basically how your childhood taught you to expect love to behave, have this idea that some people default to gaming relationships specifically because real vulnerability doesn't feel safe. Because somewhere along the way, being fully honest about wanting someone got them hurt or ignored or laughed at. So the game becomes the shield. Swipe, text, disappear, repeat. You get to want someone without ever admitting you wanted them. And think about what that actually requires. To run a strategy on someone, you have to start treating them a little like an opponent, someone to read, outmaneuver, someone to win, not on purpose. Nobody sits down and decides, I'm gonna treat her like a target today. But that's the quiet cost of the framing. The moment dating becomes a game with rules, the other person becomes a piece on the board, whether you meant for that to happen or not. Which is fine, I guess. If the goal is protecting yourself, it's a disaster if the goal is an actual relationship. Because the second it works, the second someone actually falls for the version of you that was performing, you're stuck either keeping the act up forever or coming clean and hoping they stick around for the real one. The game isn't a strategy, it's armor. And armor's great in a fight, terrible on a date. And honestly, dating apps make the armor really easy to keep on. Think about it. You're not actually risking anything by matching with someone. You're not risking anything by texting for 2 weeks before meeting up. The whole format is built so you can want someone at a safe distance, which feels like progress, but it's not the same thing as actually being seen by them. I did this for way longer than I'd like to admit. I had a girl I was talking to for almost a month. She was clearly into it, and I kept being busy instead of setting a date. Not because I was actually busy, but as long as it stayed texting, I never had to find out if she liked the real version of me showing up in person. Eventually, she just stopped replying. Can't blame her though. I'd basically kept her in the waiting room the entire time. But that's the shield doing exactly what it's built to do, protecting you from a risk you never actually took the shot at. So here's the setup for the rest of this video. If the game is a shield, then every piece of advice that tells you to upgrade the shield, be more mysterious, respond slower, care less, is solving the wrong problem. You don't need a better shield, you need a reason to put it down. And speaking of things people hide behind without realizing it, half the confidence advice out there completely ignores the boring physical stuff, like whether your outfit's actually put together. You can nail every conversation, say all the right things, and still walk into a date with your shirt untucked because your belt's sagging from a hole that stretched out 2 years ago. Look, little details wreck outfits, and trust me, outfits are the first read someone gets on you before you've said a single word. That's actually part of why I said yes when Anson Belt and Buckle asked to sponsor this video. Family run, father and son, been doing this since 2009, and they threw out the entire idea of the hole. No holes at all. Instead, it's a micro-adjustable track, 1/4-inch increments, so you're not stuck picking between hole 3's basically choking me and hole 4's a skirt now. You just pull it until it feels right and it locks into place. I've done the stretched out old belt thing more times than I want to admit. Leather goes floppy, buckle starts slipping halfway through the day, and you're subtly hiking your pants up in public like nothing's happening. This gets rid of all of that in one move. And because the buckles and straps swap out independently, you're not buying 6 new belts every time your style changes. You're buying one system and just swapping pieces. I've had the same couple buckles and straps handling basically everything lately. Dressed up when I need it, casual when I don't. Same belt, different day. Honestly, honestly, what actually sold me was just wearing it. It's the first belt in years I've stopped thinking about midday. No readjusting, no yanking my pants up under the table like an idiot while I'm supposed to be paying attention to the person across from me. It stays where you put it, and after about a week, I genuinely forgot it was on, which sounds like nothing, but every belt I owned before this one made sure I never forgot it was there. Family owned, lifetime guarantee on functionality, still run by the same two guys who started it back in 2009. And because Anson Belt and Buckle is sponsoring today's video, when you click the link in the description or scan this QR code to build a box set, you'll get 2 bonus pieces, a buckle and a strap, completely free. You'll get 3 buckles and 3 straps, which can be mixed and matched into 9 unique belt combos, all in one box. This is a deal you don't want to miss out on, so click the link, build your set, and upgrade your belt game today. So let's actually test the advice everyone gives. Play hard to get, make her chase you. Does it even work? There's a review pulled together in 2022, looked at 18 separate studies on this exact question, and the honest answer is sometimes, barely, and only under really specific conditions. It only works when the uncertainty and the difficulty line up just right. Too easy, nothing happens. Too hard, she just loses interest entirely and walks. But here's the part that actually explains why it sometimes works, and it's not what the pickup gurus tell you. It's not that mystery is magnetic, it's something called the gain-loss effect. This goes back to a 1965 study, and it basically says people like you more if you warmed up to them over time than if you liked them instantly. It's not about aloofness, it's about a shift they get to witness, which means the hard to get thing only works as a byproduct of something becoming real. Fake the aloofness with someone who was never going to warm up to you anyway, and the 2014 study found the tactic can boost how much someone wants you while actually tanking how much they like you. You become a craving instead of a person. That's not a win, that's just a slower rejection. The guys selling make her chase you are selling you half a study. There's another piece of this research that barely anyone talks about, and it explains a lot about who plays this game and who falls for it. Researchers looking at attachment styles found that people with a more avoidant style, the ones naturally uncomfortable with closeness, are the ones most likely to play hard to get in the first place. It's not a calculated seduction move for them, it's just their comfort zone, dressed up as strategy. And the people most hooked by that behavior? People with an anxious attachment style, the ones who already worry they're too much or not enough, or both depending on the day. Put those two together and you get a genuinely bad match dressed up as chemistry. One person naturally pulling away, the other naturally pulling closer, and both of them mistaking the tension for a spark. But there's a third option in this research that almost never gets talked about because it's not dramatic enough to build a strategy around. People with a more secure attachment style don't really play this game, and they don't really fall for it either. Not because they're smarter, but because their sense of being wanted doesn't swing wildly based on how fast someone replies. That's the actual target, not a better game, a steadier baseline. So then why does niceness fail just as hard on the other end of this? There's a term for this, covert contracts. It's the unspoken deal a lot of guys make without realizing they're making it. If I'm good to her, she owes me interest back. But you never say that out loud. You just quietly expect it. Buy the dinner, remember the small stuff, show up for everything, and somewhere underneath it, keep score. The problem here isn't the kindness. Research on the so-called nice guy paradox actually backs this up. Being genuinely nice doesn't predict failure. What tanks you is niceness with strings attached that the other person never agreed to. She doesn't know she signed a contract, so when she doesn't repay it the way you expected, you don't feel disappointed, you feel betrayed. And that resentment leaks out eventually, usually somewhere completely unrelated, and she has no idea why you're suddenly cold about something small. Game playing and covert contract niceness are the same move wearing different clothes. Both are you trying to earn something instead of just being honest about wanting it. That distinction between earning something versus just being honest about wanting it is basically the whole subject of a book I put together called The Truth Detector. If the reason you clicked this video is that you're trying to figure out whether someone's actually into you or just stringing you along, that book gets you there faster than any video can. Links right in the description if you want to go straight to the source. Alright, so what's the actual alternative? If it's not play games and it's not be unconditionally nice and hope. It starts with understanding why you're doing either one in the first place. If you're the guy checking read receipts at 3:47 AM, there's a decent chance you learned somewhere early that love wasn't reliable, it showed up sometimes and disappeared other times, and you never knew which one you'd get. That's not a character flaw, by the way. That's just what your nervous system picked up. And here's the detail that actually explains a lot of this. Attachment attachment researchers found that anxious attachment usually comes from inconsistent caregiving, not absent caregiving. Not a parent who was never there, a parent who was there sometimes, unpredictably, so you never knew which version you'd get on a given day. Which is exactly why intermittent attention hooks you harder than steady attention does. A text back after 3 days of silence hits different than a text back every single day at 8 p.m. like clockwork. Your brain doesn't read the consistent version as more exciting. It reads the unpredictable version as more important, because that's the version it learned to survive on. That explains the whole loop. The more distant she seems, the harder you chase, which is usually exactly what pushes her further away. Researchers call it the anxious avoidant trap. Your pursuit doesn't read as love to her, it reads as pressure. And every time she pulls back and you feel that jolt of anxiety, some part of your brain files it as proof that she matters, which just resets the whole cycle. The fix isn't chase less as a technique. Techniques are just games with a different jersey on. The fix is getting to a place where her response doesn't run your whole nervous system. But let me point this out real quick. Remember abundance mindset? The advice that says, act like you've got options, don't seem needy, don't let her see you care. A lot of guys treat that as the healthy alternative to gaming someone. It isn't. Real security and performed abundance look identical from the outside for about 5 minutes. The difference shows up the second things get hard. A guy performing abundance still panics internally when she pulls away. He's just hiding the panic better than the guy openly chasing. A guy with actual security doesn't need to hide anything because there's nothing underneath to manage. One of those is a coping strategy with better PR. The other one is the actual thing everyone's pretending to have. Practically, that looks smaller than people expect. It's saying what you actually want instead of performing for it and hoping she notices. It's being able to sit in a slow reply without needing to fire off a second message just to make the anxious feelings stop. Here's a concrete one. She cancels plans. The version of you that's still gaming this or still running a covert contract spends the next 4 hours building a theory. Did I do something? Is she losing interest? Should I text something clever? The version of you that's actually secure just takes it at face value. Something came up, you reschedule. That's it. No investigation required. The people who handle this well aren't smarter than you or less invested than you. They've just stopped treating every small, ordinary moment like evidence in a case they're building against themselves. None of that is a technique you run on her. It's just you deciding your worth isn't up for a vote she casts by how fast she texts back. And I'll be honest, this is the part that took me the longest to actually believe, not just repeat. Because don't tie your self-worth to her response. Sounds like a poster in a therapist's waiting room until you've actually lived the alternative for a while. What it looked like for me wasn't some big dramatic shift. It was small stuff. Not rereading a message 11 times before sending it, telling a girl I liked her before I was sure she liked me back instead of waiting for a guaranteed win, being okay closing my phone after sending a text instead of watching it. None of that felt impressive in the moment. It just felt like less noise in my own head. And weirdly, that's the version of me people actually responded to, not the one running the calculations, the one who'd stopped needing to. So, back to where we started, that red receipt at 3:47 a.m. It's not a message you need to decode. It's just a message. She'll reply when she replies. And whatever you were about to do at 3:47 a.m. instead of sleeping, that was never actually about her. It was about a version of you that learned a long time ago to treat uncertainty like an emergency. You don't fix that by getting better at reading people or by finding the one clever line that finally makes someone choose you. You fix it slowly by proving to yourself, one boring, undramatic moment at a time, that you're going to be okay whether she texts back in 5 minutes or 5 hours. That's not a technique. There's no version of it you can screenshot and reuse on the next person. It's just you, getting a little more solid, one ordinary Tuesday at a time. If there's one thing I'd want you to walk away with, it's this. The goal was never to get better at the game. The goal is to not need one. If you want the deeper breakdown, how to actually tell when someone's genuinely into you versus just keeping you around, that's the whole book, The Truth Detector. Links in the description if you want it. I'll see you in the next one.